Today is November 18th, 2025, and the Huskies were victorious against the BYU Cougars. This is Talkin Husky Hoops.
It is a Yukon coronation. The Huskies make history. Back-to-back national champions.
Welcome back to the fourth episode of Talkin Husky Hoops. I'm Mike Gizzi.
And I'm Jeong.
And on this show, we talk all things UConn men's basketball, from game previews and game recaps to anything involving Hurley and the men's team. How are we feeling today, Will?
It's cold. It's cold. I got my jacket on because winter is here. The Huskies are in full storm. Oh, man, this is great. Basketball season is really kicking into gear. We just had our first real test of the season started off, and things are on a roll now.
Yes. So let's get into it. The Huskies played the BYU Cougars at TD Garden this past Saturday, where they won their first ranked game of the regular season, 86-84, led by the efforts of Silas DeMary Jr., Alex Caravan, and Terrace Reed with 21 points each.
Beautiful.
I mean, yeah. Let's jump right in. How did you feel about this game? You were there.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So.
First of all, TD Garden, absolute amazing environment. Of course, we know that as Husky fans from just 2 years ago during March Madness. Great place to play in. For Caravan, it was a homecoming. For the Bansa as well, for BYU, it was a homecoming. So really great to just see a great disparity between the fan bases. BYU showed up a lot. I would say it's probably like 60-40 in the crowd. So
really?
Yeah, most surprising. BYU traveled really well. But of course, Stores North, we were able to get it done. So it was awesome to be there. 86-84 final. I think there's a lot to get into.
Yeah. We obviously started off with stats. Silas DeMary Jr. won MVP of the Hall of Fame Classic game. Really showed up big time. That was kind of like, he's had good showings in our first few games, but this was really his breakout game, I'd say.
Yes.
And he definitely showed why he was an important role this offseason. And I just wanted, 21 points from him. It felt like a lot of those came in the clutch time, and he really got us that win late in the game, especially after we struggled in the second half heavily.
So. For sure. This game was a tale of two halves, to say the least. Kind of an amplified version of what Columbia was.
Yeah, Columbia.
Similar story there. Huskies came out super strong first half.
Dominant.
I frankly don't think anyone in the country could beat that first half.
No. They outscored them 43-32 in the first half. And even in the beginning of the second half, it felt like they were dominant and they were continuing to grow that lead. I think at one point, I could be wrong here, it got up to 20 points.
Yeah.
And it felt like, I had mentioned in earlier episodes, I thought this was going to be a game where we kind of went by large margins, and it felt like that for a little while.
Yes.
But then it feels like we took that foot off the gas pedal a little bit.
Yes.
Slowed down.
So I know in a lot of post-game interviews, at least, Hurley was speaking to kind of kicking it into neutral a little bit towards the second half. So I think that did kind of happen. You can really see that as BYU got into the groove of things.
Yes.
Debansta especially kind of settled a little bit. The first half, maybe he was a little antsy. This is his first big game. But then really started to get his act together.
Yeah.
And he really showed that he was one of the top freshmen in the nation, to say the least.
I do want to talk about Debansta. Everyone, social media, all the big news outlets were talking so well about how he played this game.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, obviously second half looked unstoppable, but first half, we shut him down.
Absolutely.
We made him look like, all right, this guy's supposed to be maybe the top pick in the draft.
Yes.
What's all this hype about? That's what he looked like. Terrace Reed was basically, if we want to talk about a dominant first half, we have to mention Terrace Reed.
Yes.
It felt like he was just absolutely demolishing them. Every opportunity, they couldn't guard him. When he got them in the post, they got him down low. He was just unstoppable. And so I think, obviously, he showed out in the second half, but Debansa's dominant. There's holes in his game, and it felt like he really didn't, fall into the way he should be playing until he took the whole game into his own hands. And really, he was responsible for that comeback in the second half. And that's what I said. I think I mentioned that this team is and we also should mention they were out without two players.
Yes.
One from the start and then one got injured.
Yes, that was-
Scary concussion.
It's Kivakeda.
Yeah. But I just felt like it was this team was kind of I don't know if I'm using this exactly right, but they were a one-trick pony.
Okay. I could definitely see, yeah.
It was basically, they didn't start to come back until their star, the Banza, took control of the whole game and didn't really let anybody else handle the comeback themselves. He had to do everything. He was basically the star for comeback, and without him, if he didn't start to, tune up his game in that second half, this game would have been, we should have got 20 points, a 20-point lead at one point. I think it could have gotten to 30 if he didn't really start to tune up.
Yes, so I would say the first half, at least, for the Huskies' dominance comes down to two things. The first, like you mentioned, Terrace Reed. I also want to point out Jay Ross.
Yes.
For the 12 minutes he played, it was short 12 minutes because he got into foul trouble, unfortunately, but just dominant minutes overall.
Yeah.
As the 3-and-D guy we've needed, he really showed up in this game, just for the most part, shutting down Devanstad and knocking down those threes in the corner. That was really clutch at times, and just been keeping our momentum going.
That was a problem. Fouls. We need
Yes.
to get better with that. We need to stay out of foul trouble because we can't be, because that, honestly, watching on TV, I don't know, because you were there. I don't know if you realized the foul trouble we were in exactly,
sure.
but it felt like we didn't have a player on the floor there that could really sit there and take a foul.
Yes.
Because if they sat there and I think Solo was on 4.
Yes.
Was it Ross or Stewart that fouled out?
It was Ross.
Ross fouled out, and then we had 2 other players in 4 or 3 foul trouble as well. So
Yes.
we have to work on that. We have to get better at staying out of that. But on top of that, we have to mention that I said we'd mention in the future if it keeps happening.
Sure.
Malachi Smith.
Yeah.
Sleepers.
Yes.
Well, what was it? You have enough there.
Yes.
4 for 8.
Actually, at least it's 1 for 2, so not as bad. He probably felt a lot worse.
Oh, he only took.
Yes, for some reason,
probably
I thought if it felt like it, he was over 3 field goals.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
I might be thinking of something else.
Might have been earlier.
Maybe it's his season stats that are like
Okay.
that are 4
Yeah.
for 8.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think he, for a guard, especially a point guard who foul shots should fall pretty easily
I
for.
think that sounds right. Yeah, 4-8. Listen.
He needs to make this, like that one that he missed late in that game when honestly I thought he was gonna miss both.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna miss both, and I thought we were in serious trouble there. But on top of that, I do have to say this: he got put in a tough spot. I mean, we're in a position where we didn't have. Obviously, we've talked about it many times, but they were out Mullins, and you didn't have that person who could fall into that small forward spot, especially in the foul trouble they were in, Ross being out. So he had to kind of play 3 guards.
Yes.
And that, I'll be honest, I was sat there watching, and I'm like, man, if we had to play longer minutes with the 3 guards, they're easily going to catch this.
Yes.
They're going to take this lead from us.
So on the bright side, we can kind of look at that. When they did have 3 guards and Solo Ball being out there, this probably, and I certainly hope, was his worst game of the season. And I'm sure that's going to improve. I certainly hope so. So he was like 1 for 5 on threes, which of course for him is not the best. But not to say he had a diminished role in this game. He's still he had 23 minutes, so not super high. But just the off ball kind of gravity he has, pulling people away, allowing people like Demery to create more shots, Caravan to get some open lanes. Still definitely had a big impact on this game. But offensively, in terms of scoring and getting to the basket, that's probably going to increase as the season goes on. And of course, this is probably just an off day for him, but that allowed Demery to step up.
Yes.
And would have liked to see a little bit more from Malachi Smith.
Yeah, I feel like we're talking a lot of negative, and I mean, at the end of the day, a win is a win.
Yes.
You beat number 7 BYU.
Absolutely.
You won your first big match of the season. Although the last thing I will mention, something you did just mention, Solo Ball's performance.
Yes.
I think from him, obviously, early, but he needs to get better from beyond the arc.
Yes.
30% right now from 3 this season. That needs to improve. I hope he will improve.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think he needs to just, if he starts making them from three at a more efficient rate. I mean, we've already seen he's scored a lot in his in the other first 3 games that he's played. So if he can really improve on his shooting ability, can be on the arc and fall into his rhythm, I think that that's obviously extremely dangerous.
For sure.
It could be much more.
And that's not to say we have probably one of our best shooters and scorers hasn't even touched the floor yet in Braylon Mullins.
Yeah. Or so we hope.
Yes.
We obviously have to wait for that to happen.
Yes.
But but what's your key takeaways from this game? I mean, we got the one.
Yes, for sure. And like you said, just to know that Braylon Mullins hasn't been playing solo ball, had an off night, and other players were still able to step up for this team is absolutely huge. To come into Boston and take down the number 7 team in the country with three of our players and with scoring 21 points.
Yeah, I mean that's 3/4 of our points.
Yeah, super solid.
Also found it interesting. We actually scored we scored 43 in both halves.
Okay.
So offensively, technically, even though the second half felt worse, we were exact. I know obviously percent wise shooting, it might have been different, but we played the same level of offense.
Yeah.
We just fell apart defensively.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's really all we got. A win's a win. You escape beating a top 10 team, but you obviously have to move on to the next. But before we get on to the next, let's talk about some news.
Sure.
The new AP poll dropped yesterday.
Yes.
And we didn't move. We're still at 3, but there was some movement around us.
Yes.
We'll start off with the movement from 1 to 2. Houston fell to 2.
Yes.
Purdue jumped to 1.
So only context there, Purdue knocked down Alabama, and Houston actually almost lost a close one to Auburn yesterday. That was interesting.
Yeah. On top of that, the next team will end up playing Arizona.
Yes.
Jumped up a spot. Jumped to 4.
Yes.
3-4 matchup will happen tomorrow.
Beautiful.
I think so far, and we mentioned it last week, Illinois jumped spots. They jumped up again, another 6th place.
All the way up
now.
Yeah.
So obviously, barring they don't lose a game this week, when we play them in the future, which is next Friday,
Yes.
we'll have another top 10 opponent under our belt. Overall, I believe we should have jumped to maybe 2.
Yeah, maybe.
You beat our top 10 ranked team. Houston almost fell to 22 Auburn.
Yes.
So on 20-something stats, 22 Auburn. I think you kind of give us the 2 spot there, and I believe we should have been 2. I don't believe Purdue should be 1, but obviously they're 4-0 right now. They just beat Alabama.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of have to put them there.
Yeah.
So that's the AP polls for this week.
So in all fairness, no one lost. UConn hasn't moved at least. So
stagnant.
yes, but hopefully we'll get to prove ourselves even more once this week comes around. And a 3 versus 4 matchup in Gampel Pavilion, basketball capital of the world. You can't write up a better story.
Yeah, we had last bit of news though. We did mention it. Mentioned it last week's episode. For if it was a game time decision.
Yes.
Didn't play on Saturday night.
But was available
as available for that matchup. So it's good to have him back. Probably won't see him in the matchup against Arizona. Maybe on Sunday when we play Bryan.
Yes.
Probably see him, get some minutes there. But happy to have another guy back. One away from being a fully healthy team. But with that, let's move on.
Sure.
To the big one.
Yes.
The Wildcats of Arizona come to Stores this Wednesday, tomorrow, led by Koa Pete and Jaden Bradley. What are your nerves like right now? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
Leading into this one.
I don't know how I feel, honestly. I still feel pretty good, obviously. That BYU game, I think it's really going to be a matter of which UConn Huskies shows up, defensively speaking, whether that's first half BYU or second half BYU. I think it's really just going to come down to who gets out on the wood on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think obviously I mentioned in when we previewed our non-conference schedule, their young team with a lot of room to grow. Obviously, they beat at the time, the number 3 Florida Gators at the beginning of the season. And they actually just won a tough road battle against number 15 UCLA, where they trailed by 10 points at one point in the first half, and actually trailed by 8 at some point in the second half.
Okay.
So they fought back, and that was a road battle.
Okay.
They did that on the road.
The Intuit Dome. Yes.
Yes. So you gotta, like, for them, obviously they've beaten a top 10 team. They've beaten now number 15 UCLA. So they're kind of proving that they're ready.
Yeah.
They're proving that their youth is not something that, is going to play an aspect into how they're going to play in this game. But what I will say is, I did mention they trailed by 10 in the first half at one point.
Yes.
They ended up being up by 3 at half. But if we're playing a dominant first half like we have, and they struggled against a team that I consider worse than us, maybe that could be a game plan or a key thing to hit on for Dan Hurley and the team as they prepare for this one, to really dominate in the first half again. Obviously, it would be to keep on dominating throughout the entire game, moving into the second half, and not slow down and take the foot off the gas pedal. But, I think this is the toughest task of their non-conference schedule.
For sure.
Because you're already coming off a big one. Now you've got this one. Obviously, you have some matchups down the road that are ranked, but you don't have a quicker turnaround time than this when it comes to games.
No, you don't.
Or top ranked games. So I think they're going to really have to battle, and they're going to have to. That is the key. Can they play 2 halves of full basketball, start to finish, full offense, full defense? We have to start doing it now, because we're running out of time where we can.
Yes.
And I don't want to use the word experiment, but fully understand what is going to work for us. What type of basketball we're going to play.
Yeah.
As we, really move into the full swing of things, play 2 games every.
Yes, and it's still November, right? Still a lot of time in the season left, but I think what really is awesome about this non-conference schedule is we're being tested early.
Yes.
And to have these games in November, I mean, this is like Final Four caliber game, frankly. To have this early in the season, which is really good to test the guys and just to show what UConn basketball is all about this year. And like you said, it's going to be playing those 2 halves equally as strong. I know Hurley kind of mentioned the past couple of championship teams have had this kind of kill switch, so to speak, in being able to keep that pressure on not just one half of basketball and getting a lead, but maintaining that pressure and being able to stay strong for 2 full halves of basketball. They struggled a little bit to do that against BYU. Like I said, they kind of kicked it into neutral. So being able to do that against Arizona is going to be the absolute most important part in this game.
And I feel if we can walk out with the win tomorrow, I think that it puts us strong. We talked about the AP poll. I think that puts us at.
Yeah,
you went to
great case.
You went 2 top 10 matchups, 1 top 5 matchup in the span of 5 days, and you're looking pretty good there. So I mean, we'll touch a little bit on their team and statistics for them.
So
Pete being their leader,
or
point leader this season, 16.3, 5.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists, shooting 55% from the floor.
Yeah, like you mentioned, in that game against UCLA, the halftime score was 28-25 Arizona. So this team is scrappy.
Bunch of defense, that tells me.
Yes.
So if they're going to come out and play a strong defensive game and we play a strong offensive game, it all it tells me is we're going to have to be able to match that on the defensive end.
Totally.
We cannot allow them to walk in. I'll say this. Judging by our last 2 performances, we cannot let them walk into halftime with the lead or anything more than 5 points at most.
No.
Because if we can't perform in the second half and we're already going to be working from behind from the first half, our chances don't stand great.
Yeah.
Because we haven't shown that ability to dog it out in the second half yet, even though we did fight at the end of that BYU game to stay up top. But I don't know.
Yeah, and speaking to dog it out, like you said, Arizona only played 8 guys against UCLA. UConn only played 8 guys against BYU. So I think this really is this one is gonna be a dogfight.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm a bit nervous.
Yes.
But that's not because I don't think we'll win. I think that's just because it's a big stage. It's probably going to be the biggest stage at Gampel all season long.
Probably.
Where you're going to be tested. Like, this isn't going to be some matchup where you're playing maybe like a low top 25 team. You are playing with basically the top of the top. There's not much room for error. There's not much room for confusion and mistake. You have to be at the top of your game. And so, moving to Wednesday, we've got to be ready. And that's basically it.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll thank you for watching this episode of Talkin Husky Hoops. We'll be back later this week to review the game against Arizona and slightly preview our game against Bryan.
Yes.
Though for now, I'm Mike Gizzi.
And I'm Jeong, UCTV Sports.
Go Huskies.